Hello guys, welcome back to Custom Gamer. No time for the full intro today. I should have left myself a little bit more leeway in the footage because we're going to get off to a shooting start here. So in part 2 we're kind of getting acquainted with the backstory of this mod and all the story and the build-up elements. I hope you still found part 2 interesting because again it lays the groundwork for what's about to come, so hopefully you watched it all to the end. So I mentioned in the last episode that the thing I really like about this mod is that the combat is fast and brutal, and this is a perfect example of it here. You've got this great build-up, and then of course you have to fight a hunter with barely any ammo. Watch as he throws the zombie across the map. So what I like about this combat is that generally one hunter by themselves isn't much of a challenge, because in most mods you've got something really decent to take it down with. But here you're kind of reduced to just a pistol, which makes it a much higher threat because it just takes so damn long to kill. The thing I really like about this combat as well is that there's lots of places to hide, there's lots of cover. So you just have to kind of take your time and be very skillful with your movement and aim and everything like that. So I think it works really well, and you've got this really tense music going, and creates a really nice atmosphere for the fight. Now we go back to some more puzzling. This puzzle, I did quite like it once I worked it out. I mean, once I worked it out, it was kind of obvious, but it's just actually finding the fuse box on this puzzle you're about to see here was a bit of a chore. Again, it uses the same kind of visual crosshair system to highlight important objects, but I think whereas earlier in the mod it would highlight objects from a very far distance, on this puzzle it only really highlights the object once you get really close to it. And unfortunately that meant I was kind of wandering around the environment for ages, not noticing what it was I needed to find. It's not particularly obvious. I think the visuals perhaps need to be a bit stronger on the casing that you have to open. You'll understand what I'm talking about in a moment if you haven't played the mod already. We just get rid of all these head crabs. Oh, so annoying. So you see on this Combine screen here, you've got this diagram showing the power system for the force fields. And you notice you've got like a breaker diagram there that can move down to the second position, which is what you need to do to turn the force fields off. So I knew I had to find like a breaker box or something like that, and on my first playthrough I just could not find a breaker box. I didn't know what to look for really. Now you'll notice here that it highlights when you get close to it, which is great, but I think the distance just needs to be larger so that you actually know what you're looking for. Or even just have a breaker box puzzle earlier in the mod, which explains it better. I think that's something this mod suffers from a bit actually, is that while all the puzzles are different and variety is great, you basically have to reinvent the wheel with every puzzle, with like teaching the player what to look for. Which again, I mentioned in part 2 that that's kind of why they have to use this crosshair system for everything, because you're looking for a different object every time, and they're typically objects which aren't usually usable in Half-Life mods. But yeah, let's go. I really like this bunker entrance here. Just a long tunnel with just the light peeling in from the outside. Really nice. Creates some nice shadows and everything. Nice bit of atmosphere. I wasn't really a fan of all these boxes and things here though, because as you'll notice I don't have a crowbar yet. So you kind of have to destroy all these obstacles with your pistol, or if you were lucky enough to pick up a grenade earlier, that works too. But it just feels wrong. I mean, you really should have a crowbar by now if you're putting kind of breakable obstacles in the player's way. Because I mean, if you don't have a grenade and you used all your pistol ammo on the hunter, it would mean running all the way back to that Combine station back there and picking up more pistol ammo just to break through these obstacles here. I can imagine that'd be a bit annoying for players if they were stuck in that situation. So yeah, not really a fan of that. Now this room, I'm going to cut down an abridged version of the very, very long scripted sequence that happens in here later on, but I just want to say right now, this is probably one of my favourite scripted scenes in any mod ever. I absolutely shit myself. I think that's just a testament to the kind of atmosphere and the way this mod just sucks you into the story it's trying to tell. It's absolutely brilliant. I mean, this may just be a personal thing for me because I love the atmosphere that this mod creates, and I love the architecture and just the style of it. It really is like one of my perfect recipes for enjoyment. So it may just be me, but I just found this mod so engrossing. And the scene in that room that happens a bit later on is just, I think, the epitome of that. It's quite fantastic. But right now it's time to panic some more. Yeah, look at how you basically got no room to move. You've got all these Combine enemies running in. You've got the ominous music again. It's another great example of that fast and brutal combat. You're kind of stuck in this corridor, just trying to survive against all these guys running in. It's a really nice setup, but I did kind of find it a little bit cheap. The fact that you walk in here and as soon as the Combine see you, this door closes behind you, and there's not really any notification of that, so you turn around and try to run and suddenly you're stuck. And you weren't really expecting that. And then the other thing I didn't like is that while you're fighting for your life against all these Combine enemies, you got all this text on the screen saying, press the button on the wall and you might survive. And it just feels so unnatural to kind of, while you're in this huge fight, and then just to stop and read text on the screen to know what to do next. It just feels really bad. I really wasn't a fan of that. What would have been a lot better if the level design was just telling you what to do. So for instance, have a siren go off and a light blinking next to the button, so the player notices it and presses it. Something like that, something visual on the screen that isn't text, something in the world. Yeah, so I wasn't really a fan of this. And then of course you have to... more exposition while you're stuck in this area, and then suddenly it opens when it's all done. Yeah, it's a bit gamey. Yeah, like I mentioned in the second part, it's very much a diamond in the rough, this mod. Yeah, man, do they need to fix these text timings. I've edited a lot of it out in this video for you guys, because you'd just be standing here reading text for like 10 minutes at a time otherwise. It's not great. So we have to go and wait for Murphy in this room here, the one I was just talking about. And I'm just going to let this scene play out a bit, so you get an idea of what it's like if you haven't played the mod. But if you haven't played it, please just pause this video before you see this scene, because it's brilliant. Go and play it first. So one of the things I really like about it is that you're just told to wait here for someone. You don't know when they're going to come, or if they're going to come. And and you suddenly just start hearing all these creepy sounds. And one of the things that I think works really well with this scene is you kind of play against the player's expectations, which this scene does really well. For instance, I've cut a lot of it out because it's really long, this scene, but I was kind of thinking, has the scripting broken down? I've been in here for ages and nothing's really happened. And you start getting a bit impatient, start wandering around, start jumping on everything, trying to see if there's a way through anywhere. And you basically let your guard down as a player, because you think the map's broken or something, and then this happens. Man, I'm not even sure how to describe my reaction to that the first time I played it. It was quite late. I had my headphones on quite loud. And again, like I mentioned before, this mod had really just sucked me into it, and I was not expecting this. And I probably let off a little bit of a girly scream. I'm just going to be honest. Oh, I had to pause the game, and it's been a long time. In any AAA game, indie game, mod, whatever, I have never been that frightened by something in a long, long time. And I really wish I could understand why it got to me so much, but yeah, I think I really just was not expecting it. Yeah, wow. I hope it had the same effect on other people that it had on me. I had to pause and just walk away from the PC for a little while. No shame in admitting it either. It's once in a blue moon that a game does that to someone, and yeah, fantastic. I was absolutely sold on everything this mod had done after that scene. And finally a crowbar, because why not? Now, quickly going back to aesthetics and visuals and things like that, I really love all the new kind of rubble and prop models that are in this, especially things like I noticed in this from like all the debris and rocks and everything. There's just so much clutter and little details, stones, pebbles everywhere. It looks amazing, and as you'll see here in a moment, you have to break through this wall here with the crowbar. And in most mods, you know, what you usually see is you know, just a bit of wall that you hit with the crowbar and it splinters into props, and you know, that's like the industry standard for exploding walls, I guess. But here you've got like you kind of hit it a bit and it breaks apart slowly, and you know, rubble comes out and it slowly gets more and more dented, and it looks fantastic. That's a great way to do it. It's a little bit more work on the scripting side, sure, but man, I'd really love to see more people do stuff like that. It looks great. It feels really good too. It's good to see the wall slowly getting chipped away as you hit it. It's yeah, really nice. Now this area, again, going back to games like Stalker, Shadow of Chernobyl, this game just got this area. Sorry, it's just got so many Stalker vibes, especially the oh man, was it X18 laboratories? Oh, there's so many laboratory X and then a number in that game. I forget which one's which, but there's one of the levels in Stalker's just this giant underground laboratory, and this just feels just like that. Did you notice that shadow move there? Yeah. So creepy. I mean, a lot of things this mod does, it's very kind of how to describe it? Very kind of standard horror genre stuff, I suppose you could say, like shadows moving when you look at them and strange noises and all this stuff. And yep, here's another key you can't use until the game says so. Ah. But yeah, going back to what I was previously saying, it doesn't really do anything particularly new. It just does everything very, very well in terms of the atmosphere and presentation of the horror elements, which is very cool. It certainly sucked me in. It's quite fantastic. Yeah, nothing can go wrong here. So we've got another trollolol moment, another door that needs a key that you need to go back for. And again, it's the same problem as with the last key puzzle we saw in the area with the overgrowth and all the head crabs in part 2. Where the door requires a key that you have to go back and find, but of course, as players, we've already found the key. It just wasn't usable yet. It's a real shame that this happens twice in this mod. It's one of my main gripes with it. It just feels really bad. But it's kind of it's a double troll this time. You'll see in a moment here. Grab that key and go back. Again, really nice detailing here with all the rubble and everything. It's very, very cool. This seems perfectly safe. Tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Yeah. So this is just a mechanic to make you go across the bridge a few times. And then it triggers the end of the mod, which, if you have played up to here, you'll notice that the mod just kind of drops you down this shaft and then disconnects you back to the main menu. That is, in fact, the end of the mod. It's a shame it doesn't have a proper ending. There's no fade out or text saying end of part 1 or anything like that. It just drops you straight back to the main menu, which is a bit of a shame. I was expecting like a, you know, part 2 coming soon or something like that. But hey, as it stands, I think this mod is a triumph of storytelling and atmosphere and presentation of said atmosphere. The combat in it is really good, although sometimes a bit annoying, and a lot of the puzzles are just downright annoying. But yeah, with some work they can be just fine, but as it stands at the moment, they just, like, finding keys that you can't use just feels really bad, and I hope they fix that in the second part, or even go back and change parts of the first part. And of course the dialogue sequence timings need to be tightened up a bit, but yeah, in terms of just raw atmosphere and tension and just sucking the player into the world, I don't think I've played better than this. If I have, it's just not coming to my head right now, but it's absolutely brilliant from that side of things. Well guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if this mod got under your skin as much as it did me. I'd really like to hear your comments and see what you guys think about it. And I will see you next time.